Thank you. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in this room, we are talking about palm oil. We talk about palm oil supply chain. This is a big topic, but in China, as you know, maybe this topic is unknown. So this is very interesting that in China, we talk about sustainable palm oil supply chain. It is difficult, but I think it will be possible for us to help the Chinese corporations, to help the customers so that they can work with us, with all the colleagues in this room to transform the market. Sorry. Doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to share some experiences how we organize our activities and to work with Chinese companies, with government, and with all the NGO and some other organizations in China. At first, I come to the point, what does the China market look like? Then secondly, we will see what is the challenge, what we are going to do with that to work with them together. As a third point, I would like to introduce WWF strategy, especially China strategy and the activities. And then finally, I would like to come to the point to see what is the result and the future perspective. As we know, China is the second largest import country for palm oil. The supply chain is a global supply chain with the upstream mainly in Malaysia and Indonesia. After the trader system, we got all the palm oil into China in market, and China functions as a consuming market. So the market is growing, and there will be increasing demand, so the activities will also be expanded in upstream. If we look at the increasing rate in the world, China has a higher increasing rate than the average rate in the world. China's palm oil import ranks as the second in the world after India and before EU. And the sourcing countries are mainly from Malaysia and Indonesia. So each has about 60 to 40%. The palm oil is a very important edible oil in China, which ranks as the second after soybean oil and before the rape oil. It ranks as 24%. If we look at the trade share of the market, it can be seen the market is very much concentrated, and the largest company has a market share about 50%. And the looking oil market, the sales share is also with concentration features and several different big companies occupied dominate the market. And the palm oil consumption structure and the market concentration in China, it gives us the important indication with which companies we should work with them together. So from this picture we can see one important part is the instant noodle manufacturers, and others are edible oil producers and sellers, and also some food manufacturers. The instant noodle manufacturers are very concentrated. There are top 5 producers. They occupied the market with more than 70%. So from all the application of the palm oil in China, we get the palm oil from foreign country into China, and then in China we have a very complex palm oil supply structure, which will be, the palm oil will be used in food, in cosmetic, in household products and other industries, and or in some other application areas. All of these give us information and give us suggestions with whom we should work together, in which areas we should put our effort, and in which direction we should put focus, and then so that the market can be transformed in a very efficient way. If we talk about sustainable palm oil supply chain, it means we should take the entire supply chain so that all the participants and actors and the key players will recognize the criteria and the principle of RSPO and to show their support. In practice, it means all the participants should take their responsibilities. They are buyers, at the same time, they are sellers. There is no one single player can get the supply chain into a sustainable model. Everyone must make contribution. In China, as in any country in the world, if we talk about standard, if we talk about sustainability, especially in the palm oil case, we talk about sustainable RSPO, sustainable principle and criteria. So every country, like in China, we always have a national standard about products, about food, about different soft commodities. And the companies, they have their code conduct. So in these cases, if we want to get the standard into the supply chain, especially to get into the company's business practice, we should get a common understanding. We must recognize the international standard and then to understand what are the connections between them, what are the main barriers between them, and then to see what is the expectation from the corporations, from the government, and also from different parts, stakeholders. One important thing to consider the supply chain in China or in some other part of the world, we must understand, identify the issue of the supply chain so that we can deal with all the participants together. It means we must practice the social responsibility and then to introduce the sustainability in the company's practice. It means that sustainability must be management in the whole supply chain. The practice in the companies, everyone will have a look at their business, but the business will be developed in a sustainable way, so everyone should have their business realization at the company's level, but at the same time they will make contribution to development. But the supply chain issue or social responsibility to integrate in the company's practice is a long-term practice for supply chain. It means it is a cooperation for long-term between all the participants. If we talk about sustainable palm oil supply chain, at the end, we should see if we can really sell the sustainable palm oil or to buy sustainable palm oil. But this job is not only the task from the marketing department, from the purchasement department. It is a company's issue. It's related to the concept of the company's business strategy, and the strategy must be integrated in the management approach and also integrated in the daily management process. As a whole, it is a change process. The process cannot take place in one day. It will need some time. So we hope we can work with the company together so that we can find a way to get all the issue to be discussed, to be understood, and to be solved in a practice so that the company can do the business in a sustainable way. Finally, as a whole, I think, and this is the question, how can we manage actually the business? If we want to have a long-term sustainable business, we must integrate the different aspects of the economy, society, and the environment into the practice. And this needs management commitment. We need a strategy. We need an organization structure. In this structure, the accountability, responsibility must be clearly defined. And then we need to engage the stakeholder in this company, and also engage in the stakeholder out of the companies. And then to communicate their sustainable value with them so that the sustainable palm oil topic is not only a sales department issue, it's not the price issue, it is something important about the value. So it means the challenge and to understand the sustainable palm oil supply chain for every partner, for every participant, is really to understand how important is the risk control for their management, how important is to work together with the partners together so that they can create value together. Very important is through the practice to integrate the sustainability into their management and to show their willingness for their contribution to the development and then to show their leadership. Finally, with a long-term engagement, I think the sustainable business will be realized. From there, there will be competitiveness in the supply chain created. Under this consideration, WWF China worked out a strategy and the implementation plan and worked out this action plan and take some measures. So we worked together with the government, with corporations. Based on the WWF Global Palm Oil Strategy, we introduced our concept and implementation plan, want to work out the supportive measures and actions we discussed in our organization. We discussed with all the stakeholders in different events. We get the agreement from them and support from them. I think we would like to realize 3 objectives. The first is realize the procurement of sustainable palm oil. The second is help to acquire RSPO membership. The third one is to support the sustainable investment. So to implement the strategy and approach, we should understand the national context and the Chinese current situation, and then to work with the company together, and then to get the awareness about sustainability, and then to shape our activities so that procurement, responsible investment, and RSPO membership and commitment could be possible. So this is the main activities of WW China. In China, we worked out the structure of the market. We identified the main stakeholders and organize our activities so that we can get every stakeholder on board, and then we have a common understanding about the sustainability of palm oil, so that an unknown object in China will become known, will become understandable, will become a common understandable topic in China. It means we must work together, we must organize in a form so that every stakeholder will be on the table, and then to work with cooperation together so that we get an understanding, we get every topic for each one. It's a correct topic so that we can work in one direction so that the sustainable supply chain could be possible. There are many corporations in the market. Each one could make their contribution. I think there are some big, very important companies which we show here. We would like to work with them together so that they can make their contribution, and then so that the sustainable palm oil supply chain in China will be established step by step. To work with all the participants, with all the key players on the supply chain, we need a very focused approach. We need a very systematic approach so that everything could be more efficient. At first, we must identify the right partner. The right partner is the partner who would like to take the leadership. They would like to make their contribution not only to develop their business, but also to make contribution for the development. The second point is we would like to involve all the decision makers into this process, because the procurement topic is not really a procurement topic. It is related to the strategy, to the management decision, so we would like to work with them together. If we get them to talk, if we sit with them together, we would like to have a very constructive discussion and talk, and then we communicated about the sustainable value. We don't begin with the price. If we begin with the price, I think we lost the talk. And then through this talk, we would like to select and identify the relevant issues felt that is relevant to the corporations, it's very relevant to their business. For this topic, to consider these issues, we try to be in a position to deliver constructive and quality solutions so that the corporation could be beneficial from our proposal. Everything we talk about is really it's a strategic related thinking. It is not short-minded. So we must combine the short, medium, and long-term engagement together, and then to see how can we get a sustainable value. How can we get the cooperation between corporations, among the corporations and the NGO and the government and associations and so on, to create a real value for each of them. And finally, I think WWF is an NGO. We are not a consultant, but we would like to give some advices. So we would like to clearly define our role and then to make our contribution. We have a very comprehensive network to work together. If we want to have a supply chain, it's a global supply chain. It's related to many countries. So WWF is a network. We work with different countries together. If we get a retainer inquiry in UK, we get the offer in China, we must work with the local corporations. If the export product is going to delivered to in Australia, and then we must work also with WWF in the foreign countries.
Professor, I must manage the time.
Yeah, so I think that I have a last part. I will short that. Thank you. So with this strategy, I think since 1 year, we have made progress, and then we see the market development trend. I think we are very confident. The first case I would like to show is that this is a business case. We worked with UK together. We get an inquiry from the retailer in UK. They would like to ask the Chinese manufacturer to deliver instant noodle, but they must use the certified palm oil. It is not easy for the company in China to buy sustainable palm oil because we have certified 10% of the world production, but to buy the palm oil is also a very difficult thing. The company went through to different suppliers, but finally they get the supply with 20 tons from Musimas. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the company Musimas to be able to help the supplier, the buyer, so that the sustainable business become the business case in the first time in China. The second example I want to show, in 2012, we get the state-owned company to become the RSPO member. It is not easy because this is a domestic demand triggered this result. We helped the company because the company would like to make an export, and then they would like to get the sustainable palm oil from China, from traders. So it is important to get the sustainable palm oil so that the export business goes to Australia.
1 minute.
And these are the in 2012, we have get four new members in China. Together we have about 10 members. We have a very good, significant progress. And also in China, we organized different forum and did discuss with the stakeholders. The first preparation forum is in March. The second larger forum in Tianjin, which is in July. We worked with the government, with the CGF, and with all the participants from China. We put palm oil as a topic in China to make it known in China at the different conferences. We describe the sustainable palm oil as an important commodity so that it could be beneficial for Chinese corporation, could be important for the Chinese government. We spoke at a different Chinese conference and also at the international conference. The last one is at the World Agriculture and Food Expo in Harbin. We got a very positive response. And then finally we got the report from China Daily. So from this strategy, I think we get their own engagement with the corporation. And then I think to build in China sustainable palm oil supply chain, we drive the procurement business as a long-term strategy. We get RSP member as an active member to contribute, not to just to show as a member. We get China as a consuming country. At the same time, we consider China is an export country. So China is a global investor. All of the four factors, it means the driving factors as dynamic to stimulate for China to really to start to build a sustainable palm oil supply chain with the aim to get long-term success of the business in China. Thank you for your attention.